Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Wake. All right, bear with us, everyone. Round two. Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Stay woke. Stay woke. Stay woke. It's time to get up. Stay woke. Stay woke. Stay woke. It's time to get up. We're healing. We're dealing. We're growing. Together, together, releasing. We're teaching. We're moving. Together, together, we're learning. Discerning. We're striving. Together, together, we're leading. Connecting. Transforming. Together, together. Unmute yourself, John.
Oh, these technical issues are popping up everywhere.
Don't claim you're not claiming technical issues. Let's carry on.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you guys for joining me. You should have your pen and papers and pencils ready to take notes. I love co-creating these sessions because I never know exactly what is going to be said. When we start having these conversations, the collaborative energy just flows, and like always, spirit shows up, and then quickly the teacher becomes the student. We're always learning, and as you guys know, you can't teach without learning. So I'm so grateful to be here. My name is John Carl Martin. I am an artist. I am an author, a healer, a minister, a son, a father, a brother, an amazing uncle, and a great friend to many. We are here now at day 198, like strongly approaching day 200. In 2 days. We would have completed 200 days of wake up presentations, 200 days of learning, 200 days of listening to different teachers present to you every morning, giving us different tools that we can use to enhance who we are being. Today, my topic is it's a question. Are you on? What does it mean to be on for you? I want you guys to think about that question for a bit, and you can share in the chat what it means to be on for you. It doesn't matter. It's nothing specific. It's just, what does it mean? I've heard several people use that term, telling people, oh, you're always on. What does that mean when you hear that? What does that mean? Share with us. Share with us in your chat. I'll have the admins, if I can't keep up with that, just read some of those questions that may come up. And I'm pretty sure they're going to come up throughout the session. But I want you guys to consider that. And let me know what you think me being on means to you. This topic came about from a discussion I was having with a friend. And in this discussion, my friend was feeling a little bit perturbed, a little bit uncomfortable and showing some signs of anxiety because of our conversation. I thought it was very interesting. And I was mentioning principles and values and what they mean, and, just staying consistent with that. And my friend said to me, "You're always on. You can't be on all the time." And I was like, "Wow, I guess I am always on." But I've been around people that I consider to be on all the time. Matter of fact, those are the best people I like to be around because they're always consistent. Whether that's in an uplifting or down way, is authenticity, and I can roll with that. That question made me ponder: is it not normal to be on? Like, what does that mean? It really made me ponder. So I decided to bring it to my community and have a discussion about that here. So, do we have any comments yet about what you feel being on means? I see Denise West here says, "For me, it means being ready, being on point, being woke, being lit." I like that, Denise. Who else do we have here? Shawnee, "Being on means that I am in action. I am creating. I'm co-creating."
Stacy
On,
said, "On is fly, on
yes,
is lively."
yes.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Keep them coming, family. Keep them coming. So let's pull that chat to the side. And let's see. So today we're going to break this down into discussing principles and values. Like I said, we're approaching 200 days, and I like to discuss some of the principles and values that I've learned on my journey of personal development, principle and values that we've learned right here on Wake Up. 200 days, family. What are some of the principles and values that you've learned here? Taking a look into how those principles and values show up in your personal, public, and professional life. It's great to be on when we are here in this community, but what is it like for you when you go out into the world, go out into your daily lives? When you interact with strangers, when you are in your workplace? How about when you interact with your family and friends? Are you on? Are you on, or are you off? Because we can talk about the high vibration aspect of that, and we can talk about the low vibration aspect of that. So let's see. What does being on mean to you? Present. Darnice says present, engage, actively listening. I love that. Managing emotions. And that's a huge thing there. Nefertiti says, on for me means being happy, bubbly, jovial, like I would say. And that is great when it's authentic, not great when it's pretense. Exactly, Nefertiti. We're going to look at both sides of what it means to be on. Like I said, being on with my friend in that conversation, and my friend was getting a little bit uncomfortable. Sometimes people don't want to be constantly aware of some of those things. We get comfortable and living by default. But are you taking control of your life? Being on to me means taking control of your actions, your thoughts, words, and actions. It means being conscious. To me, it means being consciously aware of the impact and effect my presence, uh, what my presence create in the space or in the environment that I'm around. So is anyone, let's start this off early because this is a community conversation. I've come to love you guys, and Like I said, I'm here as a teacher, but I'm also here as a student. So, do we have anyone who is willing to share an experience of being on? Anyone willing to be on right now? Anyone willing to be on camera and share with me?
Yeah. Let's call someone forth that has already spoken about what it means. So you mentioned Darnice, you mentioned Denise, and family. I'm saying this over and over. It's Men's Week. So Otha, welcome into the space. Baba Kojo, welcome into the space. And I invite sisters in the space to invite brothers and sisters and young people to join so that they can be in a conversation about being on. I keep repeating that this family has room for more, and so we need to be inviting other folks to be in this magical space with us. So, Darnice, if you could unmute, inviting you in, and then also inviting Denise, so we can hear about what your interpretation of being on is and how that works for you in your relationships and in your life. So, John, she's here.
Awesome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So on is sometimes being a little bit too much and being extra. And so I'm working on being conscious of being too on, too vibrant, too extra. And I'm working on managing my emotions because for me, I think that I am vibrating off of others at times and matching their vibration to my vibration, and that can be explosive. So when I say being present, actively listening, I'm engaged with staff and clients most days, so I have to be on, my listening ear has to be in tuned so that I can catch certain words, language, feelings, spoken and unspoken. So that's what I mean when I say on.
Awesome. So, you said a few things that I'm going to highlight a bit. And one of the first things you said was being extra, being too much of a good thing. I think that's what I heard. Is that what I heard
You heard
clearly?
it? Yes. You heard it.
Okay. So, like, now that I have brought that to your attention again, do you really think that you need to monitor how on you are, especially if it is based on the value? One of the values that I've learned here in Wake Up Everybody is authenticity. And if you are authentic with your actions, your feelings, um, is it necessary to dim your light to satisfy those around you? And I'm posing the question and giving the suggestions, but I want to hear from you. How do you feel? And let's unpack that being too on, because I felt like that when my friend said to me, "You're always on." Like, I'm like, is that not normal? Should I be conscious? And I thought, like you said right there, should I dim my light? Because others can't accept the brightness, the vibrancy that you come with.
Well, it depends on the interaction, I will say. Too much could be overpowering. I'm not tuning in, I'm not really listening. And if I catch myself and pay attention to the feedback, verbal and nonverbal, then I can I can temper myself a little bit so that I'm not as excitable or extra. Now, the too much statement, I actually asked my husband, am I too much? Because I know I could be too much. And he's like, no, it's effective most of the time. So I received that, and I'm constantly monitoring myself so that I don't offend others, because I want to be responsible for others' impact at times, just because I don't want to hurt anybody. So the too much, I accept the too much. The brightness, I accept that, but not others are ready for all of it at times. So it's about monitoring and being mindful.
I've heard the saying that I don't remember the quote exactly, but it's something around the content of um like just sharing who you are, and people will attune to your own vibration. Like if that is you naturally, if you're naturally vibrant, bubbly, and on, like just be on. Others will others will raise their vibration to match yours, because it's about your journey and you are carving out your own path. Those people that are attracted to your vibrancy, they will find you. You're like the lighthouse. You're holding a light for everyone else sitting down there in the darkness. And they want to be excited. They want to be vibrancy. This is like the natural way of being, to be happy, to be joyous. You know, so if you are sharing that in any moment, I say share it. But it's a personal journey, it's a personal experience. Because, and I say share it because that's me, that's who I am. That these are the desires and the goals that I have for my life. I want to be the light in the room. I want to inspire others. And like you said, it's monitoring and balancing. There's a time and a place for everything. But I've learned to never consider dimming my light. Or the other thing you said is matching people's energy. You didn't use those exact words, but that's what I felt, you know, and that's something I've done also. You know, like we're learning here, and we're learning tools to better carve, like artists, to better carve and sculpt the person that we desire to be. And I don't think Wake Up is about, you know, in this community, you don't have to dim your light. You know, you don't have to dim your energy. We want you to bring everything as you are. Come as you are in this. Come as you are.
And not in all spaces, come as you are is received as you intend. So
Don't worry about the others.
true. I received that, and some days it's easier than others, and we're all a work in progress.
Awesome, awesome. I thank you so much for sharing. I would love to hear from someone else, get another perspective on what that means to them. Thank you so much, Darnese. Do we have anyone else willing to be on with me?
Yeah, I asked Denise if she would share. And then if Brother Other is willing after Denise, that would be great because we have, once again, brothers in the space, and this is Men's Week. So we want to activate the voices of men wherever possible. So,
Wherever possible.
yes, Denise, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. Good morning, fam. So
Good
being on
morning.
for me is always being ready. Being ready means ready to go, ready to do, ready to create, ready to accept and give advice and to speak. Um, Being woke, being alert. It almost means sometimes never stop thinking. In the physical sense, it means looking really good and being on point, makeup, everything looking sharp like that. But it also means that you're always ready to offer, you know. And I have been told positive, and then I've been told sometimes I offer too much and becomes an overload for folks. They didn't need, or they knew they needed it, but they weren't ready to take it in those bite sizes. Or they needed it in bite sizes. But it is really ready to always be ready to move, you know, like not stopping, not being really laid back. For me, I'm not really a laid back person. I have to make myself laid back, but really ready to, when you say let's, I'm saying go.
Awesome.
Um,
I love that. I love that being ready concept, because sometimes, and I used to use this statement, sometimes I'm not prepared, but I'm always ready. Always ready. See,
Right.
there's another one that says, "Be ready so you don't have to," or "Get ready." I'm messing that up.
Stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
Thank you,
Yes.
Shawnee. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. All these little concepts that we've heard and slogans that we've heard, they're talking about staying on, just like you mentioned. And I think these things are really important for someone who has a purpose-driven life. So being on, it doesn't align with the person that you want to be. Is what the question you have to ask yourself when people think you're being too much. You know,
Right.
still consider to still give it. Still give it. They will sooner or later they will raise their vibration, and if not, you'll move on because when you're around people who are not on or don't want to be on, it it can lower your vibration. It can be a little bit dragging.
True.
Yes, you want to
That's
be around
true.
people who are on.
All right.
That's true.
So
Thank you.
thank you. Mika shared that let me go back to her comment. So she said turn on must have context because some people's turn on is in an upset context. When my ego gets turned on, it's no joke. And Jacqueline said, I used to be on a pep squad, a prep squad. I'm not sure. I've heard pep squad. I don't know if you meant prep. So let me read what you wrote. Prep squad. And Denise just awakened that spirit when she said ready. Oh, it's pep squad. Um, yes. So let's see. Nigel said, there is something to be said for being on and not allowing others to dim your light, but also something to be said for reading the room. Yes, Nigel. You coming in like, you, you on, it's a funeral, and you're like, yes, I'm ready, ready, ready. But I turn up at funerals to celebrate life. It just depends on context, but some people might be in there like, can you, hello? Yes, there's something to be said about reading the room. And sometimes reading the room means that you can inject some light and activation in it. And sometimes reading the room is sit your ass down and chill. So,
I love it.
but thank y'all. I love these comments. So we said that we would ask a brother, and I don't know, Otha, if you're a yes. I miss hearing your voice. You've been in the space in and out, but I miss hearing your voice because you used to speak more in the space. So Otha, are you willing to share? No pressure, just invitation.
Sure, no problem. Can you hear me?
Good morning, brother.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Um, to me, being on means to be fluid. Um, First, you have to know yourself. You have to know who you are. You have to know your strengths, your weaknesses, and when you understand who you are, then you know how to flow within your capacity. And I think that that's important to stay on because sometimes being on means you have to step back and let things flow. You have to know when to speak, when not to speak. It's like, for instance, if somebody you walk on the street and somebody fall, and you have five people rushing over to pick the person up, they really don't need you to be the seventh person because or the sixth person because they got it under control already. Even though you can add and you can help, but if it's under control, then at that point you step back and let things flow. Now, when you need to be in a space and you need to be on, then you be on. But even when you step back, to me, you still on if you stay fluid and know who you are. And so I think the most important thing is to know who you are. And know who you are. I mean, you know your capacity. You know what you can do and what you can't do. You know what you need help in, what you don't need help in. But to stay on means stay current and stay fluid to me. And that's how I feel about it.
Absolutely. I love it because the most important thing, as you mentioned, is being conscious. And this is a conscious community. We want to be aware of all the effects of that we're causing with our presence, like I said, and like you mentioned. And I love it. It's so great to hear your voice, brother. Thank you for joining us this morning. I do remember you being very active before, so it's great to have you back with us this morning.
You're welcome. Thank you. Good to be here.
Yes. Do you what about any personal situations, anything that may have showed up where you may have a lesson or something you want to share from a interaction you may have had. And like you mentioned, sometimes it can be a little too much when people keep hearing the same message all the time. And you know, I I've been that person to reiterate that message, and sometimes, like you said, not being conscious, but being here in this wake up community has helped me to develop that awareness. What are some of the things that may have stand out for you that you've picked up in this community? Like I said, you are a member of this community with us here. What are some of the things that have stuck out? Some of the teachers maybe that have stuck out to you? Anything, like we're approaching 200 days. So is there anything there or anyone that that you relate to as far as them being on or giving us tools to use?
To be honest, um, everybody I heard has given me something. Every time I come to the community, I always get something positive out of it. Um, and quite frankly, I think it's a great thing to have some positivity first thing in the morning. Something to kind of jumpstart you going forward. Um, so I've benefited a lot from this community. I really have. Like I said, I'm busy right now with the football. I'm coaching football, but that's over now. So I will be able to come back more. And I was looking forward to men's week. So I couldn't do it Sunday. I
Awesome.
couldn't do it yesterday, but thank God I'm able to get on today.
Awesome. Thank God. Thank
Yeah.
God. And thank you, brother, because you're absolutely right. Everyone brings for us a little piece of the puzzle. That little thing that makes us go, aha. You're like, that's what it is. I can add that to my recipe. And like you, every session of watch and participated here on Wake Up have given me something to keep me on, to keep my awareness and intelligence sharpened. There's another, and I'm giving all these quotes and little nuggets. There's a quote that says, "Iron sharpens iron," and this is a community of iron. We're here sharpening each other. Like I said, the teacher, it can quickly become the student in this community,
Mm-hmm.
because we all have these special gifts, and no man is an island, or no woman is an island. Community is everything. We are the village. So grateful to have you back, participating on a regular in the village, brother, as we move on to 200 and beyond. So thank you so much for sharing your perception, your voice, your content. Appreciate
Yeah.
you.
Thank God for the space. Thank you.
All
You're
right.
very welcome.
So let's read some more chat responses. The chat is live, but that's the wake up dynamic anyway. So Jacqueline said flowing, and Nigel said being on is also awareness. I love that. Like being able to be present to what's happening in a space. I'm a New Yorker, so you better be on when you walk and riding these trains, and you got to be. And also as a person of color, I crack up over this, and they've got videos of this. You if I'm walking down the street and somebody starts running, I'm like, yo, I'm running. I ask questions later, like start running, and then you can look back at what it was after you get to safety. So don't let a few of us start running in the crowd. The whole crowd is going to book. That's just how it goes. Be
Absolutely.
And we laugh at our white counterparts because they'll be like, "What's happening? Like, what? Hey,
Not waiting around to find out.
why are you running?" It's like you keep asking. We out. So it's just so funny, with all of the variations of being on. Kathy said, "Yes, John. This is a community of people that have special talents that have been drawn together because of our energetic flow, our onness." I will add. Um, Denise agreed that yes, on is awareness. Um, Stacy, I'm not sure when you said that's the Bible, so maybe I missed another share. But Jacqueline said my 7th and 8th grade math teacher was always on and tuned into her students. She had a sarcastic edge, but she was always loving and accepting. We loved her and would do anything to achieve in her class. That is the energy that I always tried to bring to my teaching experiences. Beautiful. Let me see what else there is. Mika said, yes, aware of who's on, your creative self or your ego self. Who's on, boo? Who's activated? That's a question I will keep in the front of me. Yes. Because you can bring the wrong version of your onness into spaces that she or he or they do not belong. Excellent.
I like that.
So let's hear from someone else. Once again, it's Men's Week. So ladies, don't get bent out of shape if we're not calling on you as much, because this is the men's energy and vibe. And wherever possible, we will bring them in. So we have a Daryl Walker in the space. We have Baba Kojo. If either of you want to unmute and share, you are welcome to do so. No pressure. We say in this space, invitation, not obligation. So Daryl, are you down to speak? I'm asking you to unmute just in case. Who's connected to Daryl and invited him in? Baba Kojo, you know I'm always down to hear from you.
Peace. Good morning, family. Can y'all
Morning,
wait?
brother.
Okay, yeah, y'all can hear me. All right. I'm traveling on my way into the city for work.
Quick question. What city are you on your way into?
Into Brooklyn, into Brooklyn.
Brooklyn. You're here in New York City. Okay, awesome.
Yeah. All right. There's so much that was coming through my mind. I mean, all this is yes, it is being always ready, looking good, smelling good, but it's also, you know, being aware. I agree with that. Oftentimes we diminish ourselves. I find myself, I diminish myself in these more recent years, you know, and so I've been doing a lot of self-reflection and analyzing on that. And I'm in that space. That's the space that I'm in this point in my journey. I'm on in my awareness to this is my 50th coming up. So I give thanks and praise for that I've seen this world, this life, have my children, my wife, my mom, dad, everybody for that. I think that's a level of onness. You know, I was watching last night Mike Tyson's Hot Box, and I was watching the one episode that he interviewed the young brother rapper Boosie Badass, and he had the young brother Mo 3, who just was murdered over this past weekend. And I watched how Mike Tyson immediately spoke to his soul. I put it on my Facebook post. Like, he cut right to the core of the trend, to like see through the brother Boosie Badass in terms of his vulnerability, what he was really hiding. I mean, and he literally for the whole, I'm gonna say for the majority of that, hour and a half maybe interview or hour interview, Mike was just going in, pull after pull off the blunt, but he was just going in from the OG Brooklyn gangster perspective, from the older man who's lived many lives, seen himself through his transformation. So, you know, and to impart wisdom, because at the same time he was cutting into brother, you know, he was doing it with love. And he would let him know he was doing it with love. And he told him, you know, I see you. So this is why I'm talking directly to you. And I mean, and that's like, if you haven't seen that interview, I think, you know, that's like well worth the jewels that brother was dropping, that Mike was dropping. And just how it was amazing how Mike just immediately, you know, some people may say that's that jail mentality where you can immediately see the one who's fronting and faking, or that's, you know, him seeing from his enlightened side, able to cut right through and really say, look, brother, you know, you need to learn to forgive yourself, to love yourself, and be your true self at all times, because you are your true self, but you're hiding behind this front, this mask that you put out here as your persona. But I know you got so much more to give, so much more to share, and so much more to do. You know, so I just thought that was like an incredible demonstration of as we're speaking on this topic of being on. So
Yes.
I'm complete.
Awesome. Thank you, brother. Thank you so very much. You brought a whole different perspective to it, and you bring somebody in like Mike Tyson, and we know when Mike is on, you know what the kind of animal Mike can be in the ring when he's on, and Mike is, I would say, always on in that sense. Um, but it sounds like you saw a different side of Mike in this interview. A man, a man with more who is showing his wisdom. And as men, we come with a lot of wisdom because as men, being on to us is, you know, in the street, is in your family, you know, you have to be the leader, you know, you feel like you have to be on in a physical sense to protect yourself. You know, Mika has mentioned the ego. And for men, sometimes being on is being in that ego. And what I heard from you sounds like Mike at this stage in his life, being on to him is being in his spirit. You know, he is when we're on, we're never really alone. We have the energy of spirit, energy of our ancestors flowing with us. If you are conscious enough, you can hear them and feel them, your intuition, your gut feeling, you can feel them speaking to you. So it's, you know, it's a whole nother perspective of being on, and another perspective of onness that I believe men in our society need to embrace. You mentioned authenticity again, you know, being true to yourself and practicing forgiveness. Forgiveness is never another really important part of being on that, you know, sometimes people don't think about. You have to forgive others. You're really forgiving yourself because sometimes you don't want to deal with the things or the energies that come from not being forgiven and understanding, and you know, connecting with even the messages that you're giving and sharing now in the later the winter of your life, so to speak. You know, you become a whole different person. And I am one of those who believe that our elders, we as a society, as a village, it's really important to listen to our elders because they have knowledge to share. The wisdom that they've acquired over the years is very important, and it can save your life out there in the streets. You know, when you're thinking about being out there in that egotistical onness. So I'm really thank you for one sharing your voice with us this morning, sharing your image. We can see you now driving in. So thank you so much. Um, before I move on, is there anything else that, again, it's Men's Week, so we want to hear as much as possible from men. So, is there anything else you'd like to share? And being an older man, also, you know, I see your salt and pepper. Mine are starting to come in a little. So being an older man, is there any other personal wisdom that you would like to share with the brothers and, you know, just the whole community, the women in this community, everyone here this morning?
I mean, the other thing I'll just say is that it's all right to be vulnerable as a man, to be transparent and be vulnerable. It's all right to be that. It's dangerous, it's challenging, it's crashing your ego, but you know, it's possible, and it's I would say uplifting. Hmm. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
A lot of beautiful keywords there, brother. And being vulnerable is something that it's challenging for some men because it's not something that they see in a regular. You know, we told that we have to be hard and tough. You know, it's not okay to cry in some cases. But we know as men with wisdom that that's not the case. So I thank you so much for bringing up vulnerability. That's another big value and principle that we need to consider, consider in order to get to this later stage in life. You want to be too hard and you can be knocked down in the streets. And that's the case for a lot of men in our society who out there fighting each other because they don't realize the value in being vulnerable and applying that wisdom. So thank you so much, brother. Thank you so much. Drive safely, travel safely if you drive into the city, and let's move on. Let's see what else the community has to say. And even if the community has feedback in some of the comments they've heard already, please share.
All right. So we have some Facebook commentary. They are actively in this conversation as well. So Candace Harper, our beloved Candace, who is also facilitated in this space, said on is tuned in, tapped in, turned on, and vibing with source. And I know that language from the Abraham, that cluster.
Abraham Hicks.
Yeah, that comes from Esther Hicks. So I know that because I've heard Abraham say that over and over again over the years when I was tuned in, tapped in, turned on, and vibing with source. So thank you
Yes.
for that. Amal said, my being on always starts with reading the room and providing what is needed. I know that to be true. If nothing is needed, I'm supporting from another level. Ashe. There are many ways to support, and some of us are attached to supporting by speaking or doing the most. And sometimes it's just sitting and surveying the room and bringing high vibrational energy through thought and beingness into the space. And sometimes we think that being in action means you have to be engaging in movement and doing things. That is doing something. Sometimes sitting still is the best thing that you can do. Stacy said yes to that. Let's see. What else is there? Facebook. Teresa E. Plaskett said, good morning, community. I'm always on, doing, constant motion from sun up to sundown, but not always tuned in or activated. Thank you for that. There is a difference. Aha. That's her own aha. You can be in constant doing. What does Robin say? I think it's from her. Being a do machine, being a do machine. So just constantly in motion, but not necessarily present. It's like riding, and this has happened to me, riding a route or driving a route every day and never noticing the ocean to the right of you. It's just like going like an autopilot and never being tuned into the environment and all the beauty around you, and you miss out.
Yeah, moving on default.
Yes. And so let's
Yes.
read a couple of more and then we can hear from others. I'm still rooting for Darryl Walker to come in. I don't know whose family member that is, but, and then also I think Rob Sterling is in the space. And then also there's Reverend Shannon on Facebook who has presented yesterday and will be presenting again on Thursday. Jacqueline said it can be draining to be that intense and on. So it's important to regroup from time to time. You have to know when your energy is being drained, like the vampires that I actually don't talk about the energy vampires. I think that's Mika.
Mika, yes.
And the
Mika and Rod and
oh,
Larod.
Larod, yeah.
Yes.
So Mika and Larod speak about it's different when people are attracted to your onness, so they can take, and take. Mm. Go ahead,
I like that we're going into some of the low vibration energy of being on and the effects of that. And my question today was the three different areas of your life: professional, public, and personal. So let's think about, like, here in New York City, the public, in your public life here in New York City. We talked about traveling. We have our brother Kojo, who is driving in to Brooklyn, and sometimes you're driving, you're riding the train, and I've seen people get into big arguments, in some cases fist fights, because of someone invading their space. Now that person may think they're on and with their response, that ego, you invaded my space, it's time to fight, stand up for what's right, defend yourself. But then there's the consideration that, you know, this can take you way off, bring that type of negative energy and that low vibration energy. So what are some of the principles and values that you apply when someone is in a position to take you off, not drain your energy, but drag you into a sense of offness? I would love to hear some feedback on that, and if somebody's willing to speak on that, a situation, whether it's a public, professional, or personal, in a workspace, in your professional life, in a workspace. It could be at your, like I said, your job, and someone there is draining your energy. Someone there, you don't like the attitude, it's causing you to be off. How do you deal with that? What principles or values that you have heard in this community, or throughout your life, your journey in personal development? What principles or values do you bring to that space to bring back that balance, and as Kojo say, practice that forgiveness? What can you bring to a space in that case?
All righty. So you can raise hands if you want to share, or we can select somebody. You know how we do in this community. So anybody want to share based on what was just asked? All right. So Teresa has her hand up. 1 second. Teresa, unmute if you can.
What I've learned in being part of the Be the Tree and the Wake Up is that I had to step back and just pray, like talk to the people, go over the things that I learned in my Be the Tree class. And so that helped me a lot. I feel like I've changed and I've walked away from a lot of the anger. Like I had a situation that happened to me yesterday that wasn't good news, and I didn't feel angry about it. And then I was really shocked at my own self. So I know that what I've been doing in the Be the Tree. So I encourage anyone, you can join the Be the Tree in the next term, cohort 17, and also continue to be in the Wake Up, because my life has changed really tremendously. And I it helps because being angry and fighting all the time, it doesn't help you physically, mentally, or spiritually. And so um letting go and trying to figure out what people are thinking, just be who you are called to be. And if who what I'm learning to is to listen more. So that's one thing that Coach Shawnee teaches me, is to just be quiet sometimes. And I would get offended, sometimes people say things to me, and now I'll be laughing because I'm like, damn girl, you really grew up a lot, in this little bit of time. So I feel really good, and I'm still a work in progress, and I'm complete.
Thank you, Teresa. Thank you. Take a step back. Speak about the values of being part of Be the Tree and Spirit of a Woman Leadership Academy. Our community it derives from Spirit of a Woman Leadership Academy. Um, I've learned a lot just by being here in Wake Up and getting a lot of that information that comes through. And you're right, it helps you to be more aware, being conscious. Again, it comes back to consciousness, not be too quick to react. You want to be proactive, not reactive. Apply those principles. You know, for me, I have a principle where I would not let any other person's negative energy cause me to react negatively. That's a principle you can add. Talking about the principles and values, and I have written down here the values, core values of Spirit of a Woman. I'd like to bring those in really quick. And number one is authenticity. Two is innovation. Three is collaboration, and that's what we do a lot here as we co-create these sessions. We are collaborating and bringing information from everyone. We are being inclusive. Inclusion is another principle of Spirit of a Woman. Another core value. Sorry, there's a difference between the values and principle. Contribution. Always looking to contribute in a very positive way. Competence. Being professional. Competence has been the principle that I've been vibrating on for the month of November. Being competent. Equity, creativity, which comes very natural to me. So all of these things we've learned here in some way or another. if not directly, indirectly. All of these values and principles, they align to help us stay in alignment to who we are and who we desire to be. So if you guys can share some of the principles you use when that space is low vibration, some of the principles and the values that keep you in alignment, that help hold that space of projecting into your future self, because your thoughts, words, and actions, how you act, how you speak, what you think in that moment is going to depend on what happens next and in your future. So being aware and being conscious is absolutely important. That's what this community is. It's a conscious community.
Yeah.
And yes, and you don't want to just practice these things when you're here. Like I said, it's easy to be on when you're in this community around others who are being on, others who allow you to be your natural self, where it doesn't feel like you're being too much or overbearing. And if you are a little off, being around others who will support you, in being on, bring you back to oneness. This community is about oneness. We are quickly approaching the 8 o'clock hour, where I want to acknowledge our participants, our community members who may have to leave before 8:30, before this session is ended. I want to thank you guys so much for being with us. If you can, you come back. The replay would be posted in our Facebook community, WUE community, Wake Up Everybody virtual community. You can find the rest of the content there. And I thank you again. Thank you. Travel safely, move on to your jobs, consider the conversation you've heard so far, and be on today. Be on. Don't dim your light for anyone. They will raise their vibration to yours.
So, John, thank you for that and for sending off anybody who has to go with love and light. There's a conversation that is in the chat about work. So I think Nefertiti mentioned that she has a different kind of on in her professional life than she does in her personal life. And I think I missed a part of this conversation, but Nefertiti, rather than me try to read it and catch up, it would be great if you could come on camera and then have us have this conversation, or you have this conversation with John. So Nefertiti, can you join us in the space by unmuting or coming on camera if you can?
Yes.
All right, excellent.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Nefertiti.
Good
So nice to
morning.
see you.
Nice to see you. Nice to see everyone. So yes, for me, professional on is definitely a different kind. It doesn't have any vulnerability. So and my analysis is forefront, and I think of it like I have a running resume in my head. And so everything I do, I think about what do I want the outcome of this to be, and how is it going to have an effect? And especially as a Black woman, because I not really so much at my work, but I think at law school, I think I made the mistake of, just being like, your true self in every situation. And I quickly realized that you can't really do that in every situation. You have to really protect yourself, and you have to hi Stacy, and you have to you have to put vulnerability to the side, and really, like, when my coworkers do certain things to offend me, or do certain things that are offensive, or even racist, because that's happened, it's like I always think about how I'm going to react, in terms of what effect it has on my professional career, and how am I going to analyze this? How is this going to help, people that come after me, that kind of stuff. So it's a completely different analysis. And the other thing we were discussing in the chat too was being on. For me, I can't always be on because I need to recharge and conserve energy. And I think Kathy was saying that, that's being an empath. And that's very true for me. I think I recognized not early on, but as an adult that I was an empath. But I think that there are unhealthy ways to be an empath and healthy ways to be an empath. And so I really had to learn just to conserve my energy, pull back when I need to pull back. And to recharge, because there's a lot of, well, for me personally, I found that I absorb a lot of things, and so I had to start being cognizant and try to be selective and not absorbing everything around me, even when it's positive. Sometimes I just can't absorb everything around me. So yes, I just want to say that. And about the professional thing, I really definitely have to be a different kind of professional on, because I think when I'm not, let me speak for myself, when I'm not and I am completely on and vulnerable and all of that, and there have been moments when that has happened at work, it always just comes back to bite me. Somebody will do something and it's like it just takes you aback, to more than if I was just my professional on, then I'll say, okay, this person is showing their true colors. What am I going to do about it? Instead of like, wow, like really? We spent an hour yesterday talking about our personal lives, and today this is what you do to me, so I think it's a different kind of on.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. A lot came up there, and I did make a few notes, and coming back to certain points. You said uh, you can't always be your true self in every situation. Pushing your vulnerability to the side, recharging and conserving your energy, and the fact that being at work is a different type of honest. Let me address recharging first of all. And I think being on is a way to recharge, because when you think of being on in the literal sense, if your lights are on, the electricity is flowing and the brightness shows up. If your stove is on, the element of fire or heat, or whatever it is, whatever source that your stove vibrates or works on, the refrigerator is plugged into the source. So I like to believe being on is being plugged into source. And is not, sometimes it's not what you see, is how you look at it. So I think great intentions in everything you share, but I I always want to be my true self in every situation. I think that it's a great value in it being your true self in every situation. There are different levels. There's different levels of you and what what you shows up in what space, whether that's again public, professional, or personal, but it is still you. We are very diverse and multi-dimensional, multi levels to ourselves, and I'm still learning different aspects of myself. But one of my principles is to stay connected to source as often as I can. And for me, that is simply that simple action for me is being on.
That's
Vulnerability, there's power
yeah.
in vulnerability. I think being vulnerable is definitely a level of onness for me also. Um, when you have a principle or a core principle that and for me this is huge, because having a hearing challenge, when I became very conscious of my hearing challenge and how I show up in different spaces, it threw me off a bit. It took me a minute to balance that, and I'm still balancing it, because I can't trust the way I hear things all the time. So it's constantly checking, am I hearing that correctly? I don't want to react differently. So it's like we have to attune to who we truly are. Be true to yourself, be vulnerable if that is who you are. And it leads into your character, who you're being, who people know you as. Sometimes we have this way of being, and it's a practice. We don't know what value they're bringing, not just to us but to others around us. You know, we all serve a purpose and we can't be all alike, but you do have to protect your space, especially in a job. I don't have a corporate job or job where I'm interacting with a lot of people, but I have a lot of friends who do. And I hear the complaints and the challenges that they deal with interacting with other energies. So it's very important to apply a lot of these principles and values that we learn here um, in Wake Up, Spirit of a Women's Leadership Academy. It's very, very important to apply these things. I'm going to ask Shawnee as the leader and director of Spirit of Women's Academy to address and just bring light to in her wisdom to some of the things that were shared so far and some of the pointers that you brought up, Nefertiti. Shawnee?
Um, so I've spoken to Nefertiti about this before. Years ago, without giving too much information, I went to her job to facilitate something that was conflict oriented. And, you know, Nefertiti is also a facilitator in this space. And when we train and develop the facilitators, what Mika and I talk about is what you shared: core values, authenticity, transparency. Well, that's not, transparency is not one of the values, but it's adjacent to the whole authenticity value. And I do anti-racist work, corporate and also in public institutions. And where I start before I even get into what racism is or white supremacy is with um, emotional intelligence and empathy. So, what keeps us in this spin is that we've been taught that you have to remove, as if it's possible, your emotional beingness from yourself to be at work. And that's impossible to do. So we're repressing, suppressing, pretending, holding back. And I'm not saying be at work weeping and falling apart. That's not what I'm saying. But it's like, as a lawyer, as a doctor, as a teacher, we need the integration of our intellect, our emotional, and our spiritual intelligence, our whole beingness to show up to me in brilliance and genius at work. And so whenever I do my work, I'm like, if you don't want to talk about emotions, if you don't want to deal with empathy inside of this conversation, whether we're talking about conflict resolution or anti-Black racism, then you have the wrong facilitator, because I'm starting there first as a foundation, and then we can start unpacking other things. Bring your humanity into this space, because the muscle of our emotional intelligence has been atrophied, especially in white environments where white paradigms and patriarchy are the lead pieces that guide the work. And in the legal world, that's very much the case. And so taking all of that out is like operating with multiple handicaps. And I'm complete.
Thank you so much, Shawnee. Thank you. Uh, okay, so we mentioned the and we mentioned the values and the principles, and I know that I learned new things about some of these principles and values that I have been aware of all my life. And as far as principles, the dictionary defines principles as uh, truth based on natural laws. I see them as beliefs that we choose to live by. That's how I see our principles, and it says that values are values we use to guide our behavior and actions. They are the qualities and standards of our behavior. So what we're talking about are different type of different standards, different qualities. You want to be another core principle of mine is being a man of my word. You know, speaking it and being it, walking, talking the talk and walking the walk. I saw someone post something very similar to that in the comments. So it's like we don't want to move through life based on what we learned from the past. Wake up everybody community is about being a new way of being, a more authentic way of being, a way of connecting, a way of loving, a way of adding value, not just to ourselves, but to our community. What you put out, you get back. It is said that if you don't know what your values are, to look at your actions will uncover what you stand on, what your standards are, what your values are. Actions are huge. Some of us don't move, don't practice what we preach. So it's very important to consider that, based on everything you've learned here. Like I said, you don't want to be here in a wake up space and then and be on here in the wake up space, but then go to work or go out in traffic and want to act upon your road rage. You know, there are values that help keep us in alignment and principles. And you want to add a little faith into knowing that it's going to get better when you hold your ground and stand on your standards, your values and principles. The world, the environment would change. It would raise into alignment with you, or you would attract the people, places, and things that are in alignment with who you are. And that, again, is easier than to be switching up, not being your authentic self. And I love what Shawnee said, because Shawnee is a woman that, and a leader that I believe to be on. It's one of the things that really attracted me and kept me here in this community. This type of leadership. I grew up with a different type of leadership. My father, he's one of those people that operate with ego and pride and hiding the issues you're dealing with, not being authentic, you know. And I learned those things, but I never felt aligned to them. It was a little bit uncomfortable for me. So I was always looking for something different teachers. And 200 days coming up, 200 days of wake up. And we have seen a lot of different leaders, different energy, different strategies, different ways of approaching a lot of the things that we deal with. So again, everyone, I wanted to bring this conversation to wake up, because I knew that I was going to learn, and there were new things and things that I needed to be reminded of. And I would love that, you know, this week is to really pay attention to what we have heard, learned, and acquired, the different tools that we acquired over this 200 days of Wake Up Everybody's for the facilitations and presentations. Some of the principles, I'll speak a little bit about some of my principles. I talked about what you put out is what you get back, doing to others, the golden rule, doing to others as you would like them to do unto you. Sometimes that is not matching someone else's energy, because the energy they bring to you, you do not want to bring to them. It creates conflict. We have to practice forgiveness. Forgive often, and whenever the opportunity shows up, forgiveness. Make every day an adventure. Try something new. Learn something new. Again, take notes for everything you hear here in these 5 days a week mornings that we're here on Wake Up. And don't just practice them on the 2 days that we're off. Those are not off days. Those are not off days. Those are days to practice. And you want to practice them continuously, not just those 2 days, but not just in the hour and a half or half an hour that we're here on Wake Up. You want to do this continuously. Be ready. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Right, Sonny? Some of the principles we've learned, I remember, another one, let go and let God. Let the source deal with it. Sometimes it's not about you dealing with it. You're never alone. In this community, we talk a lot about our ancestors and embracing them and bringing them in and the beginning of your actions and your days with them. So let go and let God. I see God as being the source, being energy, and this is where all is in the non-physical. Do something every day that benefits your future self. Take an action, take a step, contribute to who you want to be in the future. And that future could be an hour from now. Don't say, okay, I'm this right now. And then an hour from now, somebody cut across you in traffic and you fly off the top. Maybe your home in your personal life and your children done something that offends you, and you're not practicing your core values. You're not being on. You're not treating your kids the same way you would treat a coworker with that compassion or that understanding or that backing up, coming back to it and dealing with it later. These are the things that I've learned and applied to my life because of Wake Up Everybody, and consistently apply. Kojo said, waking up here every morning is adding positivity to his life. It's a great way to wake up and be on, plug into source. The 4 agreements, be impeccable with your words. These are very amazing principles, very simple. Be impeccable with your words, agreement number 1. Don't take anything personal. That is huge because that can throw us off. It's never personal. People are dealing with their own issues and problems. And if you match their energy, you are now vibrating on the same level as them. There's a quote that I love. Hopefully I get it right, but from Martin Luther King that says, never, there I go. My mind went fizz, but it's, and that happens, and it's okay. Again, being authentic is expressing that. Being vulnerable is expressing that. But I can abbreviate that, paraphrase that, which is never stoop so low to let another man make you mad at him or something like that. And I know I got that all wrong, but it's a principle of not taking things personal. Don't let someone cause you to stoop low enough to be mad at them or be mad at yourself. So, and then principle number 3 of the 4 agreements, do not make assumptions. We get into so many problems because we view people's actions and their words through our own beliefs. You're taking it personal and you're making assumptions. And my favorite is always do your best. Recognize that people are always doing their best. Sometimes it may not make you happy. It may not be something that you think is of a value, but for that person, you know, they may be angry and they've just come from depression into being angry. And being angry is a little bit more positive than being depressed, because when you're angry, you're willing to take action. You just have to align with your principles and values, who you want to be in your future self, and let that guide your actions. Don't stay angry. Angry gets you moving, but it can move you into a positive direction also when you apply the values and principles that all of the teachers have brought to us here on Wake Up Everybody. Again, have faith. Use auto-suggestion every morning, affirmations, positive words. You want to remind yourself of these things. Auto-suggestion is repeating those to yourself, programming yourself so you don't move on default. You're not vibrating on default. All the positive words you see behind me and all the affirmations that I've spoken about, affirmations that you have, remember them and apply them to your recipe as you move through your life. Apply them. Be consistent. That's very huge. Consistency. Develop a momentum. I think momentum is the natural movement of the universe. Being successful at anything requires consistency. It is how we leverage the power of the universe. When you have a thought, when you think about a thing, you attract your mind. That's how our thoughts work. They attract other thoughts. Those thoughts, words, and actions. When you speak a certain way, you attract people who relate to that, who vibrates with that. So you want to speak positive things, have a positive outlook on life, and you'll attract more people, more places. You'll be asked to come to places, to rooms with people that vibrate on that same energy. And those are the places you want to be. So align your thoughts, words, and actions, and be consistent on your principles and values. There's no right or wrong depending on where you are, because we're all at different levels of this transformation, all at different levels of this growth, personal development. So we want to have compassion. It's really huge. Be compassionate. Be compassionate to your fellow man, your sister. To me, being on is It's a commitment. It's a commitment. Be committed to you. Be committed to your purpose and your brand, your values, your goals, your desires. Who do you want to be in this world? What legacy do you want to leave? What are people going to say about you? And like I said, one of my principles, it doesn't matter what people think and say about me, is what I think and say about myself. And if those things that people say about me are aligned with what I think and say about myself, then I'm happy. It doesn't matter. It doesn't determine how I feel or how I show up. But it's nice. We all want to be loved and we want to be surrounded by love. So speak of love as often as you can. And practice forgiveness, as our brother Kojo mentioned and brought up in his content. I hope you guys have really enjoyed this session. We are 8:18, approaching the 8:30 hour. When you're working on yourself, there are no off days. This is a full-time job.
That's
So
right.
if working to yourself, if you consider that be on all the time.
So John, we have
Yes.
lots in the chat about principles and sharing about what works for them, from wearing lipstick to speaking truth, all of this juiciness. I love it. So Amma Dama has her hand raised. So Amma, could you come off of mute?
Yes, we spoke about the golden rule, and I grew up with that. But recently I heard about the platinum rule, and I just wanted to put that into this space.
Thank you.
The golden rule is do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. But the platinum rule is to treat other people the way they want to be treated, because what you want may not be what they want. So when we're in community, it's just important. When you're on, you're conscious of what other people need and want, not just what you need and want.
Nice. I have to digest that one. I have to digest that one. But thank you for sharing. And I know the chat is a whole nother animal. I am here screenshotting the chat as we speak because I want to come back to this juiciness Shawnee's talking about.
Yeah.
When
And
you're here, well, one second. When you're here, and this is for a community and who may be on Facebook. When you're here in Zoom, you get double and triple the juiciness because I am giving a facilitation and the chat is a whole nother animal. It's a whole nother conversation going on in the chat. So we want you to join us here on Zoom, interact with the facilitators personally, and really get the full experience of what it's like here on Wake Up Everybody. Go ahead, Shawnee, please.
I was just going to say that you can get the chat, like we can save the transcript so you can see and read. You don't have to do as much work. So we'll
Oh,
send
I can get the chat on the replay?
not just a replay, but you can get a transcript of this chat where you see everything written out. So you don't have to do much work. Just record.
Thank you for sharing that because I am here screenshotting everything. I'm looking at like 1,000 of comments going on. I'm like, wow, I can't even keep up with none of that stuff.
And you're
So I was
alone.
screenshotting it.
Here to help you too. So
Thank you.
once
I learned
again,
something new today.
absolutely. Once again, just a lot of principles were shared in the space, and we have 9 full minutes before we close out. So I would love to hear from some other folks about what's there for them and what they utilize. I'm looking at the name BC Mom, and I'm not sure if that's part of a name or that's the baby's name. And then you're like, this is BC's mom in the space. But I'm looking at that name. Would love to hear what you got out of the session because you've been here for a minute. I'm asking you to unmute. Not sure if you're there to hear. BC Mom, you there?
Yes, I'm here. This is BC's mom.
Oh,
The reason, good morning. This is Sister Zoraya. How are you, everyone?
Good morning.
Good
Good
morning.
morning. Thank you for joining
says-
us.
Thank you. It says BC mom because the last time I used Zoom, it was for something that was concerning her. So I had to identify and didn't get a chance to change it. So that's the background story behind that.
got it.
Mhm.
So what have you received today, or what are your principles for living and being on?
A big thing that I heard today was to constantly forgive, which I really appreciate very much. So I want to thank John for reminding me of that today because that's something that I really, really needed Today, particularly, I am out of the country right now. I'm not in the United States. I'm actually in Mexico with my daughter BC, who is 17. And you know, I have to exercise the strength of maturity and being a mom because it's been a little challenging. But I think I logged on at the right time today because some of the first things I heard was reminding me to keep my energy up as I, move through this assignment of BC Mom.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I'm grateful to have you join us.
Beautiful. All righty. Let's see if we can hear from others. I'm looking at the name Ebony Reed. Ebony Reed, it would be great for you to come on and just share what you got if you are willing. And then let's see. So I sent to ask to unmute to her. And let's see who else is up in here. And then Rob Sterling. I don't know if you're able to speak. It would be great to finish off with a male voice up in
Good
here.
morning, everybody. This is Ebony Reed. I'm sorry, I did not get to hear it. I got like a really little piece. My mom, Theodore Cross. This is my first time getting on a Zoom with y'all. So, good morning. I'm sorry. She sent me the link, but I'm not a. She didn't call me early enough. She called me at 8, so that's why I got on. Not too long ago. So I'm sorry. I missed the whole thing. But it sounded like it was very inspiring.
Yeah. John, do you have a question for Ebony so that they can contribute to the conversation?
Well, Ebony, today we spoke a lot about principles. We spoke a lot about the which is 198 days. So if this is your first time, you will have 198 videos, replays up until this point to catch up.
Okay.
And the longest is maybe about 2 hours, maybe hour and a half to 2 hours, and the shortest being a half an hour, 40 minutes.
Okay.
So we have a lot to catch up on. But I'm sure that as an adult, that you have experience being on in many cases, people being on around you. Sometimes that may encourage you. Sometimes it may hinder, may bother, as we've heard in several cases here, where being on can be too much. So my question to you is, are you on? And what does being on mean to you?
Am I on? I don't feel like I'm on right now in life. Maybe that's just because where I am. So no, I don't feel like I'm on right now in life. When I am on, I am working. I am being productive. I am giving back, and I like to help people. So right now, I'm trying to get my life back together. Not back together, but I basically quit my job and went to real estate school, and now it's like all coming together. So no, I'm not on right now, but when I'm on, I'm on. And even when I'm not on, I'm very kind and I like to help. So I just think that you should treat people how you want to be treated, and you give respect, and hopefully it's returned. You don't go around and be nasty to people. You never know what other people are going through.
Absolutely, and both everything you said just now was mentioned, but I want to point something out, because I'm listening to you, and I'm hearing in your voice and your vibration, your energy, that you are actually on right now. You're on with me. You're on this call. You're up.
Okay.
You're you are conscious of who you are and who you desire to be. So that is on. Maybe you're not actively on, and this is not about your job and your what you do outside of who you are. What we're talking about today is who you are being, who you're being for your future self. And it's not always about actions. It's about the thoughts you have, the things you say to yourself. And that also is something I want to point out. What happens when you are in a space where you're not being on for yourself? You know, how do you communicate with yourself? The things you say to yourself. You want to claim the best of you in every moment.
I know some days are just better than others. And some days you have more encouragement within yourself. And some days you need people to be like, come on, Ebony, you got it. You can do this. Keep going. It's just some days are
Yes.
easier than others.
I understand you, Ebony, but I'm gonna leave something with you today. And if you can see my video and my background, that whole wall, those are tools. That wall is a
Yes,
tool.
I'm looking at it.
Yes, that wall is the tool I use to stay on. And I'm gonna read a little bit. It says, I'm wise, I'm grateful, I'm confident, I'm loved, I'm powerful, I'm worthy, I'm harmony, I'm free, I'm courageous, I'm outstanding, I'm awake, I'm aware, I'm conscious, I'm connected, I'm committed, I'm present, I'm respected, I'm liked, I'm energetic, I'm smart, I'm resourceful. All of these words you shared, some of the things you shared to me resonate on that same vibration. And being on, you have to speak it into existence. And you have to claim it. You have to claim it in your non-physical before it becomes present. Because you're writing the script, you're writing it with your words. And if you say you're on, then you're on. You just have to stay in alignment and call it to you. What you are looking for is actually looking for you. So if it's onness, if it's success, if it's value, all of these things, everything, if you're looking to be respected, call it to you. Don't let what you see with your eyes, because our eyes lie to us. You can't trust everything you see. And I know I can't trust everything I hear. So it's a constant conversation you have to have with self. And I'm so grateful that you've joined us in this community, because you will become more conscious of what your thoughts, your words, and your actions are projecting into your future life, what they're projecting into the next moment. Because exactly what you're living right now is something that happened seconds ago, previously. Yes?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. No, that's my son waking up the kids. It's not me.
Yeah.
That's my son waking up the kids.
Awesome.
Time for remote learning.
So happy to have you here in this community. And please join us, invite others to join us. Let us build this community. This is how I see Wake Up. And I talk about being honest, committed to you, being committed to your purpose, your brand. When you're working on yourself, there are no off days. They're always being on, being conscious. Here in the Wake Up community, we are offered tools to build our brand, build ourselves, to define our purpose. We're not just a community. We are the village. We are the village that our ancestors dreamt about. And we are also the children being raised by that village. And they say it takes a village to raise a child. We're also the children being raised. We're healing each other and we're transforming together. So I invite you to join us in this transformation. It's never over. It's constant. It is constant. And thank you so very much for coming on and being with us this morning.
I'm gonna be on every time I get up.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yes, Ebony.
Awesome.
Yes, we are so in love with our new participants, folks coming in for the first time into the space. Rob said that he's at work and will share in the chat. And so I'm hoping that we'll be able to close out with Rob's share before we complete. I don't see it yet, but it may be up and coming. So Rob, if you're there, please drop it on in. All right, and we don't have to wait for it, but we can announce it as it comes in. So we could put up there's Rob. Look at Rob, right on time. Yes. So Rob, I would share that being on for me is staying in the moment and being aware of what you can give to others. Ashe. So just reciprocity, which is one of my spiritual principles. It's like give and receive, not give and take, but give and receive. And that synergized flow is just so powerful. All right. So we're going to close out. So Nigel, can you put up the slides, and then John, you can take it away and share, because we have a juicy giveaway and all of that good stuff and announcements about what's coming up for the week, the rest of the week.
Awesome. So I have a special offer. And if you like and you enjoy this conversation, you enjoy conversations like these, like I do, I'm offering 2 members of our community a 45-minute consultation to further this type of conversation with me and find out more about your creative energy, find out more about how you can apply these principles to your every moment to be more successful in life, to accomplish the things you want, to stay on. So before I mention 2 numbers, I think I chose number 9 and 27. And Nigel, could you, I believe that you've chosen those members that are winners.
Yes, I have. So the first winner is Daryl Walker. So Daryl Walker, if you accept, can you come off of mute and say yes?
Or type it in the chat.
Or type it in the chat. And while he is doing that, the second winner is Teresa.
Which Teresa?
Yes, which one? There's several Teresas.
Oh, she must have just jumped off. Hold on, let me.
Oh, so you're talking about Pascal.
Yes.
Okay.
Left.
Let me text her. I'll ask her.
Okay. And it looks like Daryl is no longer with us. Did he type something in the chat?
I think so.
I'm right here.
Okay, yay. Okay, beautiful. So do you accept?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I look forward to the conversation.
Wait. How do I believe Daryl? That was like, yes. Daryl, come back on here. Do you know what you're accepting? Because we want you to absolutely be a yes for what it is that John is offering up. So John, can you explain it a bit?
Again, it's just furthering the conversation. It's a 45-minute consultation and just speaking, helping you to raise your vibration, or, again, teachers and students, it doesn't matter. It's about speaking the positivity and embracing the energy of being on. And again, I like to say being on is being plugged into source, which is the basics of everything that we are. It's our creative energy. It's moving forward, what we use to move forward into the world, and it's about embracing that. So I'm looking forward to this. When I'm on, and like I said, I'm always on, or I try to stay always on. I never know sometimes, and I love conversation because you never know what's going to come out of it. Many times I have these conversations, and there are things that I needed to hear. Source, the energy that is always speaking to us, and it's always speaking to me. So I love to share, and I look forward to share. So thank you so much for receiving, brother.
Yeah. Nigel, Teresa Plaskett is on Facebook, so it must be our Teresa Scott, that one, because she's the only other Teresa in the space.
Shawnee, this is Rakia. No, I had my name as Teresa Plaskett.
Oh, yes. Okay. So it's Rakia.
And I just changed it to Rakia.
All right. That now the mystery is solved.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yay! I say yes 100 times.
All right. So we got Rukia. That's a winner. And Daryl, you still a yes?
What was that, Shawnee? I missed it.
I said, is Daryl still a yes with the explanation of the prize?
Yes.
Beautiful.
Awesome.
Thank you.
And I'm gonna do something special too, because it's always enough to give. So I will take both Teresas. I'll offer the prize to both Teresas.
Beautiful.
Yes, I would take it. I would say yes, it's me.
I'm so happy you're excited. Now that is on. Thank you so much for the energy. Okay, so for everyone who, for the winners and for everyone in the community, for those who cannot see, I would read my contact information, but if you can see it, you can take a snapshot, or you can also copy it from the chat. But to contact me, my full name, John Carl Martin. I am on Facebook. My my company, Happy Island Books. You can find me there. That's my children's book where I am teaching some of the same principles in the content for kids, for children. And then we have J. Martin Designs. That's also a page on Facebook. On Instagram, it's the same names, John Carl Martin, J. Martin Designs, and Happy Island Books. And for my email, you can email me at johncarlmartin@gmail.com. And my website is johncarlmartin.com and happyislandbooks.com. I'm always looking to share these values, and I believe it's my purpose that through my artwork, children's book, public appearances, and workshops, I share my values for peace, love, and a positive mental attitude, hoping to encourage my audience worldwide to overcome their challenges, be happy, and live with passion. Be on. Can we move to the next slide, please? Love offerings, everyone. My own natural energy yields money. We accept love offerings in the content of money here. We also accept your great energy, your comments, your shares. If you share these broadcasts, that's also considered love offerings. Anything to help bring more, bring more of the love to these sessions. Love offerings, you're not just sharing with me, we're sharing with a great admin team, everyone that is here to support. This is a co-creative session, and we're not doing it alone. Even if it was me by myself, I'm not doing it alone. So we want you to share that energy. If you're compelled to share whatever you give, it could be $1, it could be $50, and I don't want to limit your giving. Whatever you feel comfortable with giving. Our ways to give, we have Zelle and QuickPay. That is SOW, S-O-W, leadership development at gmail.com. And if you're sharing through Cash App, we use the handles $ Spirit of a Woman. And the code, please add the code in your shares. And the code today is 198. That is the day we're on, folks. We've been doing this for 198 days today. And my initials, JCM. So the number again is 198 JCM. When you give your energy, it comes right back to you. Whatever you give, come back to you multiplied. This is a universe of energy. And I spoke about that before. When you look at everything down to the minimal component, it's all energy. And money is energy. Money is energy, and energy multiplies. Whatever you give comes back to you 10 times fold. Okay, this is Men's Week, everyone. And so far we've had Brother Yao, and we've had our presenter yesterday, Brother Les. And today you have me. We have 2 more days coming up, and in those 2 days, tomorrow, Wednesday, November 18th, we'll have the topic here is From Chaos to Order, Part 2, facilitated by Xavier Beckwith. And I am looking forward to that, Xavier. And on Thursday, which is day 200, we want as many people as possible here with us to celebrate our 200 days. I remember like yesterday, it was day 100, and that was a beautiful celebration. This is Men's Week. We're ending with a panel of men, be facilitated by myself, Frank Love, Joshua Lee, and Rev Les. And we have a great panel to bring to you on Thursday. We look forward to your presence. Be on with us, and let's celebrate 200 and beyond. This is beautiful. Thank you, Shawnee, so much for creating this. I have a home. I have a village to come to. This is my community, and I want you to claim it too. It's also yours. Our schedule, everyone. Wake up everybody's schedule. Zoom live workshops, Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 7 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. That's a full 90 minutes. And on Monday and Wednesday, we are here for 30-minute sessions from 7 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. Thank you so very much for this morning. I thank you. Let's move to the other slide. The thank you slide. Thank you. Stay in touch. Register with us. And these are the ways that you can stay in touch. You can register bit.ly/wake up movement. You can join us on Facebook, bit.ly/WE community. On Instagram, you can find us at Wake Up Series. And on YouTube, bit.ly/WUE on. WUE is always on, and we are on YouTube. So that's WUE on YouTube. You can email us. And again, I like to invite people to develop their skills. Develop your skills. And if you'd like to be an admin and join us in this facilitation and for the next 100 days we have coming, the next 100 and beyond, you can email us at info.wakeupseries@gmail.com. The more, the merrier. So we invite everyone, all your friends, bring your family, bring those that you have challenges with, bring them to our community. Let them feel and have this experience. This is an energetic experience, everyone. An energetic experience. And we are energies. We are spirits having this human experience. I love you guys. I love you so very much. Thank you guys for embracing me. Thank you guys for spending the time with me this morning. And I look forward to seeing you again on Thursday. But don't wait until Thursday. Be here tomorrow also. Let's celebrate Men's Week. Thank you so very much.
All righty. So, family, and for those who are new to the family, what we do in honor of the generosity of the facilitators is we pour into them in the form of a love shower, libation, energy exchange. So please do unmute yourselves. I will invite those who may not be able to do it at will to do that so that we can all share simultaneously our offering of love to John. So unmute and take it away.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
John.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
John.
John.
This is
Girl, thank you.
on this
Thank you for
morning.
putting
We
us
definitely
together
on.
and being
Thank
on
you.
chat
We
today.
are
Thank you, John.
sensitive
And
So
humble.
I was able to get on the
Martin,
line after not
Thank
being able
you.
to sleep.
you.
Being the fed the Wake Up
Positive
community.
Thank
energy.
you.
so much
Wake up
Thank
family.
you,
for the
John.
flow
Love
of
it,
the
love it, love
world.
it.
Look
Part of
at
this.
you enjoying
Put in
I
the
enjoy
Start
this
my morning.
energy.
and I'm telling
I
you, reaching
enjoy
out to
this
Wake Up community,
energy.
able to access some John's
Bye,
wisdom.
everyone. Have a wonderful day.
And of course,
Mariah,
Johnny
soak up,
skill
soak the
Thank
things.
you, thank you, thank you. Thank you,
for me
John.
is I spend this time with my teenager. Really, really
Bye,
means
y'all.
thank you,
Bye,
and I
everyone.
send
Have
them
a great
love
time. Much love.
and
Thank you.
appreciation all the way
Rob,
to Florida.
for your new office. Thank you. Happy birthday.
And know that
Everyone love y'all. Y'all rock, y'all rock, y'all rock.
I sent some of the BT Arizona Johnny.
Feel that.
I sent some of this
Wow.
salt water
Y'all. Thank you.
and I pray that
Love
everybody
you
have
all. You're
a
so
wonderful
wonderful.
day.
Mwah.
Do what they have to do with Sean or whatever they need at
Charmaine.
the moment.
Good
And
night,
whoever
y'all.
needs some healing that I desperately need in this
Blessings.
moment,
Good.
I appreciate
Have
you
a
and I
good
appreciate this
day.
community. And I plan to be a part of this community for a while. So thank you.
Let's have all the men come back. Invite all your men and your man's friends.